lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Destiny has officially broken records in North America. It's the fastest selling and most played PS4 game to date, according to Sony, and the game has driven hardware sales not seen since the Christmas season of 2013. As of nearly a week ago, Destiny has supported over 11 million game sessions on PS4 alone and was the most broadcast game via PS4 share functionality. The game made $325 million across all platforms it's available on in the first 5 days and is the best-selling new game franchise ever.
Colin.
Yes.
You started playing Destiny.
Yes, I did.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, I started playing it. Level 7.
Level 7, what do you think? Let everybody know.
The mechanics are very fine. Very fine mechanics.
Very fine mechanics. Like a fine wine.
Yeah, I think the game's fun to play in bursts. It's already becoming very repetitive. Mm-hmm. You go around empty landscapes and groups of, and you can make enemies respawn at will. I've realized, which is really obnoxious. In specific places too, it happens over and over again. If you walk away just like a little bit, go back there.
Get to that
again.
Cave, that loot cave.
It's like Mega Man. You move the screen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I was gonna say, it's very NES-like. It's very weird. Mm-hmm. The worlds are very... I've only been to the moon and to, like, the Cosmodrome so far, but it's really cool locations. It's just, like, you keep going back to them.
Yeah.
There's, like, nothing in them. There's, like, nothing really to find. No one to interact with unless you're, like, I just shut my fire teams off so no one bothers me.
Yeah.
With that
Leave me alone in this multiplayer game.
With that said, like, it's fun. There's something about it that's fun to play. I just think it's, like, a super vacant game. I'm surprised by how empty it is, considering how long they worked on it. There doesn't seem to be that much in the game.
Sure.
The big like two big things to me that stick out as bad are the load times are egregious. Like,
when you're waiting for your spaceship to go,
ridiculous amount. Like load times are just insane. Like I can't believe how bad the load times are. And Peter Dinklage's voice acting is terrible, just absolutely atrocious. And like a lot of people were saying like, well, he's supposed to be a robot. So I'm like, come on, man. Like it's so bad. Have
you played multiplayer?
No.
Okay. I was going to get your opinion on the multiplayer announcer. It's like, go get them, Guardian.
Yeah, it's like Terrence Stamp. It's like you're getting things from Jor-El and Smallville or General Zod, depending on how old you are.
You're in the lead.
Yeah. What is it? A loss is not a failure, just a setback. On it. We're like, what are you talking about?
He's like so monotone, and like it seems like he also kind of phoned it in.
I mean, like we say they're phoning it in. They are in a booth getting direction.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're like, bring it down, and you're a robot. You need to be like this. Or, you're this sentient being that is like the voice of the traveler. You need to just be on, you know what I mean?
It's bad. It's like his voice acting annoys the shit out of me.
It doesn't annoy me. Like you should have played it in the beta when they had there was no robot effect on it. Maybe it was the alpha or whatever. I was confused. But there was no robot effects. It was just Peter Dinklage being like, that wizard came from the moon. And everybody's like, what the hell's wrong with this thing?
It's like there's conflicting production values in the game. Like the world is beautiful, textures are really nice, like draw distance is awesome. There's like a lot of like really great things in the game, and I think that they've created a nice foundation for future iterations with DLC and making the world more alive, and hopefully like a sequel will make the game better. But
I think they're just gonna keep adding content to it, right? That's the hope.
Yeah, they already have 2 DLC packs announced, and they have like the Queens thing going on
today.
Right now.
Yeah, this one. I want to play that.
Yeah, I'm gonna later.
What level do I need to be?
Somewhere in the 20s.
Okay.
I don't know.
I just haven't checked into it yet.
Yeah.
It looks good.
It's interesting. I was actually most intrigued. Like people were, I was talking to people on Twitter about it. Like my expectation with Destiny was that it was going to be great. And when, and I wasn't really interested in it. I was like, well, it's not really for me. I became more interested in when people started to say like it's not very good, because I was like, what? Like how? Like that was actually like really intriguing me. And that's when I was in Japan, I'm like, I got to play this game, because how can this be bad? Like Bungie's so good, and it looks great. Yeah. And it's not. I don't think people were saying it bad. I think they were just saying it is what it is, and it's just mediocre. Or like I think it's fine. I just think that from what I've played so far, I can see the complaints already. I can see myself getting totally tired of this game.
What if they had another 6 months? Could they have fixed it?
I don't know. I mean, I think you would need. I think you need lots of time to fill out that world. Like I don't even really understand what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Like how do I get side quests and like.
Bounties.
And where's all the loot? I've only had like 4 treasure chests in the entire game. Like Borderlands.
You're not even to the tower yet, are you?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
the game doesn't hold your hand at all. It's very much like, wake up, Guardian. It's gonna seem crazy at first because you've been dead for a while. Yeah. But it'll make sense. And like, then it doesn't. No. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is the squandered story. Like the intro is so cool about and the idea of the traveler and is so cool. Like they don't seem to do anything with it. it's just weird. Like I don't understand how they didn't nail this.
Yeah.
Considering the money and the time and the pedigree.
There are a lot of
but
questions about that Destiny. A lot are coming from what you're saying. We'll start with Jacob. Jacob says, Beyond.
Beyond.
Thank you. Do you guys think Destiny suffers from the same hype that Rage did? I felt like Rage was a good game for what it was, but felt disappointed that it wasn't Borderlands/Fallout style RPG shooter. The same thing seems to be happening to Destiny. Everyone expected a giant 50-hour MMO type story. I think both games are fun, but it seems like all I see is hate for this game.
I don't think Rage had the same marketing budget Destiny had.
Sure.
Honestly, like that was a new IP that who published that?
Bethesda?
Yeah.
Yeah. They took a chance on it. It's not Activision money though.
Yeah. I mean, the thing, I've been having this conversation with a friend where we're talking about Titanfall and Destiny, right? Titanfall came out and people are like, there's no private matchmaking, there's no this, whatever, and people burned out on it quick, but everybody in reviews is like 9.0.
Yeah.
Great, it's amazing. It's so much fun to play, yada, yada, yada. Whereas Destiny comes out, there's not this much content. It's so much fun to play, 7.8. And people are, what's the difference here, right? Both are disappointments in a way. This is happening, da-da-da. For me, it comes down to expectations. And I really feel like people had it built up in their head that Destiny was going to be first-person shooter, MMO, Mass Effect.
Yeah.
And you're going to get this amazing story and connect with your character and explore different worlds and blah. And I never thought that. So when I came in and played it, and I was like, oh, it's just like DC Universe Online side quests and playing the same dungeon over and over again to get a better Drew and get my, great, I'm totally in. And I'm not disappointed in it, but I never expected it to be, man, I'm going to get lost in the character I'm building that doesn't even have a name. It just has my PSN name, you know what I mean? That I can't change their hair.
Yeah, for me, it's about coming back for better loot. I really like the combat. The combat is fun, but you do it, that's all you do. It's just the same combat over and over and over again.
Seems like the same enemies, too. Like, I don't, like... I don't know. I played Rage for about 10 hours. I was really excited about that game, and then other things came out. Yeah. Rage is a better game than Destiny, and for sure, it's got like mechanically it is untouchable with those kinds of games, like with shooters. Think about Doom 3. Like the shooting is very fine in that game, and that game had more of a story and more of a structure, much more of a structure than Destiny does.
Sure.
Rage is like a forgotten game, basically, but I think Rage is I've played them about equivalent time. I've actually played Destiny less than I played Rage, but from what I've seen so far, like Rage is a better game than Destiny. It's just surprising. Like Destiny's just empty.
Yeah.
And I've only played it for 5 hours or so maybe, and it's already obvious to me like that it's not going anywhere. I want to play more of it because it's fun.
Right, that's the weird thing.
That's the weird. Like it's definitely fun to play.
I think I said this last week too, but I'm sure somebody's new to the show. Last week or week of Destiny's release, which I'm already so lost in timelines. But I remember Brad from Giant Bomb tweeted like I totally get everybody's complaints, but this is all I want to play. You know what I mean? Like I agree, and I totally the same thing. I read the reviews, I see the score, I'm like I totally see that, but I'm jonesing right now to go home and play, let alone go home and play the new content, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to Chicago on Thursday. It's gone from, I can take a weekend off to, I'm going to bring that PS4, I think, home.
I almost brought my PS4 to Japan.
Yeah. See, like, it's just that and all it is that, it's that, that loop, right? That loop of like, well, I'm always getting so close to light level 23.
Yeah.
And it's like just a little bit more time, whether it be at the cave or whether it be running a strike playlist. I'm going to get it. You know what I mean?
Then I get that helmet or those boots.
Yeah, exactly. When am I going to get a legendary?
Yeah,
This, that, and the other. So yeah, I'm having fun. We got more though here. You ready?
Sure.
You got more because there's a lot of people want to talk to you, Colin. They like you a lot. They've missed you. Francis writes in and says, Beyond. The Three Musketeers of podcast. So with the post-release of Destiny, people were so ready and so excited for this new game to come out, there was nonstop talk about it. But now that it's out, so many people are complaining the story is so easy, the game is going to die out just like Titanfall and so on. Now, I'm not a big fan, but I tried it, and it's a fun game to sit down and lose yourself as a stress reliever. Can the three of you answer as to why you think gaming is no longer about just enjoying games and having fun, but now about your KD or beating the game or even having more trophies than the next person?
That's a really tough question, actually.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think it goes back in a way. Now that we're all connected online, right? There's so many more stats to compare to each other.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. Remember when it was you'd go play Mario, you'd be lost in your own world. I'm talking about NES, Super NES, right? And then you'd go to school the next day and talk about what you found or how this happened, blah, blah, blah. But there wasn't like the constantly you could be in somebody's face about being better than them or showing what you've done or this, that, or the other.
That's a good point. But you don't have to play multiplayer. KD ratio comes into account there, and but I guess you still do compete about your level, or like what gear you got. I don't know why are games becoming more about that, or is this just one game that's happening?
I mean, I think he's also talking about the fact that people are all like critical of it now, right? After the fact that the stories in this, blah, blah, blah. I think it's just that it's so much easier to talk to each other about games now. I remember growing up when I was the only kid in my group that liked games, right? Like the only source I had to talk about games then was the next issue of GamePro or EGM.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't, I'd beaten, Spider-Man on PS1. I couldn't walk into school and be like, hey, everybody, what did you think of the Doc Ock battle? I was like, what? They don't know what the hell you're talking about.
I remember teaching some of my friends how to do like Scorpion's Fatality.
Yeah.
In Mortal Kombat, it's like, oh, it's block up, check it out. And then you do is pull a skull and whatever. And like, that's about the extent of my interactions. Like teaching people really simple things in video games.
We do live in a place now, though, where it's so, everybody has an opinion, and now you can express it, so then it gets overwhelming to an extent, I think.
Well, I also think games like this, Activision set the bar really high for this game. They wouldn't shut up about it. Come the summer with the alpha and the beta and all those kinds of things and all the commercials, they set expectations really high. They talked a big game with Destiny, and it's not living up to the big game talk, And when a game lives up to things, people aren't critical about it. Nothing's changed, I don't think. When you think about a game that was ubiquitous like Skyrim, it had problems on PS3, but generally people really love that game and won't shut up about it because it's good.
Yeah. Same thing with Last of Us.
Yeah, and The Last of Us, or there's a ton of games that are like that. And when you hype a game up and then it doesn't live up to expectations, the same thing happened with Titanfall, and now it's happening with Destiny. Obviously people are going to speak loudly because that's their right to do that. I don't think really anything's changed. In that sense, I just think Destiny has resonated with people because they've been waiting for it and they're excited about it, and they feel like they were maybe even more a little misled about it, And I don't have deep thoughts about Destiny right now in that sense because I haven't played enough of it, but I totally see where people are coming from just already, And if I feel like that now, I can't imagine the potential cliff this game's gonna fall off of if I keep playing it. You know what I mean? So I can see myself playing this game a little bit more. I kind of want to just see the story through, and then I'll probably just never play it again.
I think even with all the negative reviews, people seem to want to keep playing it. I keep hearing on Twitter, oh, I can't wait to play the Queen's thing tonight. And people want to keep coming back. I'll be interested to see where's that cliff going to happen. Will it happen? What if people just stick around?
I mean, Colin is the outlier here, right? Because he's not going to play with other people. And I feel like it's the people that keep you coming back, right? And that's why when I keep going back to the story of I just don't care there's not a story in this game, which is super rare for me, but it's because I'm building the narrative with the people I'm playing with, where I'm just talking about what's happening. And then, we ran into tough here. There's this, watch out, there's a wizard over there. We have to be careful. We keep losing, trying to get this guy free. And so I think by the time, that's like quicksand, right? By the time you're like, well, I'm just doing the same thing over, but I've been having fun, and I'm also so close to whatever level I'm almost at now. I might as well keep going. Who knows?
And I think that, the gameplay is really great. So in games that have great gameplay hooks, you do the same things typically over and over again, whether it's, a great platformer. Rogue Legacy is a great example of that. Rogue Legacy was really engaging, but you were doing the same thing over and over again. So that's not necessarily an insult in and of itself. It's just that when the hook is only gameplay and then everything else is boring or sterile, basically, in a game that has such great potential and kicks off with such a bang. It's where did they just fire the writer after the first scene? They were actually, we don't need writing. Well, they didn't fire their writer, did they? They fired
left though.
Their composer.
Before it was no, the writer left.
No,
the writer left Bungie.
Frank O'Connor, is that right? No, sorry, my bad.
Joseph Statham.
I'm not a big.
It's just
I don't want to say names. I'm probably wrong on the name, but I know one of the main writers took off, and the composer, a bunch of stuff happened there. So yeah, it could have had a major impact on that story.
I mean, they'll get another crack at it, I'm sure. But
the whole thing is, I keep talking about this, and Christina bite my face off when I say it's an MMO. Because it's not technically, what I mean? But
it is.
It's like an MMO in the same way that I really feel 6 months from now, 2 months from now, it won't look the same. And so if the gameplay hooks are enough to get me to level 25, right, and then I burn out and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna stop for a while. Eventually, going to be like, this new content pack adds this, that, and the other, and then a new mission here and a new mission there, and suddenly you have something where you're not running the same strikes 3 times a night.
Yeah, I want to platinum it, honestly. Jeez. All the trophies are pretty easy to get, except for 3, where you have to max out one of each of the classes. I might not get those. Those are the 2 I won't get. I'll max out the 1 I started with, but after that.
Joshua Rubin, writer of Destiny, leaves Bungie to work on the Telltale Game of Thrones. game is what I have.
So the game was already probably written at that point. I mean,
it's August 2014. So
I don't know. To me, I'm intrigued. I think everyone's totally right. Like the gameplay hook's there, and people are going to.
Then creative director and writer Joe Staten.
Yeah, I was right.
Leaves Bungie.
Okay. But
that was in 2013 September.
Yeah.
But you know, we'll see what happens. I'm just so intrigued by the response to this game, and I wonder if Activision and Bungie are. I'm sure they're not. So
they're getting so much money. They don't care.
I know. They might care. I mean, because
I'm sure they care. The creative side of them care. Like the Activision side, no offense to Activision, I'm not saying they're a bad company. They're a company. They're excited about their bottom line and what's happening.
Yeah.
Bungie is probably taking it harder than anybody. That people aren't like super like, this world is so amazing, and I love every planet and every.
It just goes to show you have to deliver, man.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why Staten may have left? Like they just weren't putting enough emphasis on the story because he's like the lore guy for Bungie.
Maybe.
Right.
It's possible.
And they're just like, we're gonna focus on gameplay, worry about story later. He's like, so what am I gonna do? Sit here and twiddle my thumbs?
Let's see what the article said. We can move on with the Roper report.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. We're trying to deliver the news, and we're not like. Here's what he said on his official studio site. He posted the following statement: After 15 great years at Bungie, from the battlefields of myth to the mysteries of Halo and beyond.
Beyond.
Thank you. I'm leaving to tackle new creative challenges. Well, this is just a PR answer.
Yeah.
I mean, Bungie, it's been my pleasure building Bungie the past 4 years. Big summer. I was sharing with him. No, he doesn't say anything.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.